Hi guys.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to another episode of Millennial Conversations. Now today we're tackling something very interesting, something that we want you guys to comment on. Let's engage each other. And basically what we've decided to do is to do a series. So we're going to be unveiling fallacies in the millennial world today, things that are considered unrealistic, things that millennials have made themselves to believe is what is real, is what is reality. And so this is going to be an interesting series that we're going to do over the next couple of episodes. And So for today's topic, what will be the first fallacy we're going to be tackling is social pressures. And what we want to do is to just unpack this thing called social pressure. And millennials are considered to be the most innovative generation, the most technologically savvy generation. But also millennials have cases they have increased cases of depression, debt, consumerism. And why is that the case?
Okay, so maybe first of all, before we get into that, I think maybe we can give just a bit of background on why we decided to do this. And I think it's because of just the way our society is set up and the way we are seeing how our peers are handling life issues. We are not claiming to be experts about anything.
We really are not.
This is just our personal observations. Please feel free to agree or disagree, comment, and feel free to just
engage us.
Engage us. Maybe we'll also learn something new from you. And the reason we decided to start with social pressures is because we saw we are so easily influenced by the things that we see, the things that we read, the things that we hear about, the things that our friends are doing. That's what we want to do. So I think we thought this would be a very opportune topic to begin this series with. And that's why we decided to pick up on that.
Now, Salma, what do you think is the biggest cause or are the biggest causes of social pressures today for millennials?
The biggest social pressures millennials are facing, in accordance to me, is social media. For me, it's social media. Social media is the biggest thing right now. And also, I think it's the fact that it's so easily accessible. It's so easily accessible to anyone with a mobile phone, anyone with data, no matter where you are in the world. And it's so interesting because I was thinking about it when we were talking about this topic, and I was thinking how was it back in the day? And the farthest I can go for me as a person in this generation is high school. When we used to be in high school, when we were in school, we're in school. When we're at home, I'm at home. I don't remember us having WhatsApp or Facebook that I would be keeping in touch with my schoolmates as often. So it's like when we come back to school, now is when we tell each other stories about what happened over the holidays. So we really didn't influence each other that much. When you're apart, you're apart. When you're together, you're together. But now I'm in Kenya, I have friends in Sweden, I have friends in Netherlands. So I'm seeing real time. I literally have a front seat to your life. So I'm seeing everything happening real time, and that has a way of affecting your
psyche. Mental.
It has a way of affecting your psyche, whether you know it or not.
And it's interesting because we did the poll on our Instagram page, and we asked, why do you think social media is creating such a fallacy? And we'll just put up some of the responses we got. And you'll find that a lot of people acknowledge that social media is such an illusion.
It is. Oh my God.
Such an illusion.
Especially Instagram.
It creates this illusion that, and in so many things, and I think it's because you will rarely go on camera and show the worst parts about you or that you're struggling and I think that's just a human thing. But now what that is doing, especially to young people, is that I think it's taking it a step further, because as Salma was saying, how it affects your mental. And a lot of young people are starting to compare themselves with what they see on social media, forgetting that you're only seeing a speck.
Yes, and somebody will always put where they're succeeding. Very few, by the way, put out
the real deal.
The real deal, like what they're going through, people who are struggling with whatever, maybe it's a sickness, whether it's financial troubles. Very few people put that out there, but people are always making themselves feel like they're living their life. And it's so funny because actually I was remembering there's this tweet well, yeah, it's a phenomenon on Twitter. You know, people would usually say like, oh, manifesting a vacay, you know, manifesting a new job, manifesting I don't know what. Then 3 days later they post, oh thank God the new job has come through, oh thank God, look at me catching flights. You know, and usually that person, by the time they're posting manifesting a new job, they already know they have the job. You know, manifesting a vacay, they already know they've booked that flight, so they're just coming to like grandstand on social media. And we usually there in the comments, oh please send me the words of your exact prayer so that I can also be like you. It's a fallacy, guys.
I think it's also really I liked how you started when you said when we were younger it was go to school, come back home, play outside, play kalongo,
like
play
your life is here, your present,
but it was real. Now we sort of have this world, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic, because all things I think are now virtual, or rather 90% of the things we're doing are virtual, and a lot of people are communicating through social media or through virtual platforms, and so that realness, that even the interaction has become it's not real, it's not authentic anymore. And we're not saying that social media is bad. In fact, I was reading a study that said that 85.2% of brands would advertise on social media, and you know they'd advertise on platforms where you can catch a lot of millennials, because millennials are the ones
we all are anyway.
And a lot of businesses have also flourished, you know, because of social media. But it's just asking yourself, what is this really doing, you know, to someone's mental health, to someone's view of reality. I've seen people compare relationships as well on social media. You know, a lot of people, some people even become so invested in a relationship. Like,
why are we saying actually in personally I can say I'm invested in many social media relationships.
So you're those guys who I'm like, me, I'm in season 3 episode 4.
I get your point.
You see now that even in a relationship, I mean, when you're going through a breakup, it's a difficult thing. It's also an intimate thing, and I think it now takes away from even the chance for you to go through that thing, because I've seen a lot of people get focused on comments, receipts, and wars, and who said what, you know. But yeah, social media, I think just we all agree there's an illusion it has created about
and it's
reality.
about everything. It could be about relationships, like Maria has said. It could be about money, a very big thing, I think, for us and our peers and our circle of friends. There are many people who act on social media like they have this lifestyle, they're always traveling, they're always like at this high-end bars and restaurants, you know, they're always wearing designer, but people are struggling. People are struggling with debt. It's just for the appearances, you know.
So I think another big social pressure, I would say, is comparison. Now, comparison is really about always comparing yourself to your peers, your siblings, your just anybody who's, you know, close in your age. And I think a lot of us young people do that
all the time
lot now, you know. It's like you're always checking, you know, has this person, I don't know, Amanda Maju, what job have they gotten? You go to your friend's house, you see, oh my gosh, look at that plasma TV, when me I want it. And it's just what Salma is saying. I think comparisons today are dangerous because they're leading people to actually do crazy things. People are entering depression. We've had people doubt themselves, you know, because of this comparison thing. And again, you still don't know what someone has done to get whatever they have.
You don't know the full story, and the full story will not be on social media.
And I think that comparison and even this illusion centered around money. It's that life, it's the lifestyle and wanting to make it, you know. And I think that now brings me to my next question. Where do you think this pressure comes from? Does this pressure come from your parents? Is it coming from society? Is it coming from our education system? Salma, what do you think?
First of all, I think we can't ignore the innate human nature, that innate human nature element that we have. Because I think also that comparison thing that we usually have, I think number one, it's human nature. With social media or without, you will always find people in our society always comparing themselves. Even like our parents' generations or the generations before that, they'll be like, yeah, so my daughter is doing X, Y, Z. Then, you know, they'll be like, yeah, even me, my son is doing 1, 2, 3. You know, so that comparison thing will always be there. My only thing is, I think social media now has like exaggerated it, because now I know, like, let's say, Maria, if I've not seen you for 1 year, I'll only know what you're doing
through
Yeah, but now with social media, I know you did your hair, I know you did your nails, I know you like to go to this restaurant, I know this is the food that you like. Like, I already know so much. So now I can easily compare myself with Maria because there's so much about her that I know. So then I'm like, maybe I can also be doing this, like what Maria does, you know. So I think that plays a very big role. Human nature, I think society as well. Because society has made maybe certain things to look more important, more lavish. Maybe the people who drive the most expensive cars are the successful ones, which is not always the case. People can be driving cars for many reasons. It could be about what else? I think we also talked about education system. The way our education system is set up, it's only the people who are top of the class who are the brightest. And sometimes you find those people when they go to the workplace, they don't survive. Or maybe they are top because they used to steal exams. Like, you never know the full story. So I feel there's so many factors as to this whole issue.
On comparing yourself.
Yeah, there's so many elements.
I also think, especially with how our society is set up today, I was just thinking of like even gender roles, because when you read about the rate of debt, especially in young men and women, it's like 3 times higher for men. And a lot of young men are in debt right now. A lot of young men who are, you know, riding in these expensive cars, and every day you're seeing them turning up, they're in so much debt, and it's so concerning. And I think that also is stemming from society and how, you know, men of course have been raised in the African way to be providers. And you know, you see your male friends and you see where they are at a certain age, and you want to get to that, you know, level. And so a lot of men are entering into debt.
Easy has it been to like Fuliza, or like, you see, it's been made so like you're using Fuliza as if it's cash at hand. You know, those kind of things also feed into each other.
Then for women, because you've been raised to be a mother, a wife, you know, get married, you go for functions and you're being asked, where is the husband? You're growing old, you know, and then you find girls entering into relationships that are so unhealthy, staying in situations that are so unhealthy, or even, you know, going after that family thing, or when you're not even ready.
Yeah, it was not
you're
part
not
of
even
your
ready.
plan.
And because now you've been taught that if you don't do that, then you're not
you're
successful.
An outcast.
You're just, you know, and it's so sad, because even in a family setting, you will find unconsciously a sister can be compared to a sister. Or if I come to your house, Salma, you know, maybe I come and I've, you know, gotten married or something, and then, you know, someone will say,
no, your friends are getting married. What about you? What are your plans?
Your friends are getting married, you know. So I think that also has really led people to do things that they would not do otherwise, just to fulfill that sort of obligation.
And it's very important also, Maria, to mention that we can't canvas all the issues like in this short period of time. So it's a very big topic which we can't exhaust. This is just maybe
we want to just
a conversation, and just to say what we think.
So Salma, the next question is a personal question.
Oh my God.
What is the one social pressure you might have experienced, and if you're happy to share how you've overcome it, if you have, or maybe you're still trying to overcome it, what is the one social pressure maybe that you feel like you've personally experienced?
Maybe I can start with what I mentioned earlier on a light note, which is the relationships thing. I mean, we all do that. We all take turns. Maria, I'm talking because you know what I'm talking about. So if you're trying to act to the social medias that you're not part of this, you all do that. Like, you're like, oh my God, that's so cute. Yeah, you always like invest yourself in other people's relationships. I think that's one of them. But I think also, like, when I really thought about it, like, I really had to dig deep. I was like, let me just try and have some self-introspection and see what is the one thing maybe that social media has influenced me, and in a negative way, because I also think there are positive things. I think like in terms of like brands, that is like let's say if I see a personality that I like using a certain lipstick, or I'm like, oh, if this person can use it, then I can. So that to me has been positive. I don't know what you think about that, but like in terms of a negative influence, I think for me it's this was especially with Facebook, where people would post pictures of friends, or like large groups of friends, you know, like you're having a wedding and you have like 10 bridesmaids, and I'm like 10 friends at the same time. You know, I used to find it to be so strange, like, but then I also used to like long for it, I guess, because I used to be like, wow, a group of 15 girls actually have gone on a girls trip. First of all, anyway, I think it's like a big nightmare, but yeah, things like that. But then how I was able to overcome it also is to really understand my identity. I think it was to ground myself. Like, Salma, even if you were given the opportunity to have 10 friends, would you
even have the capacity?
Yeah, I had to like really go down to basics and understand my own identity, and so that I can be able to ground myself. You know, like, don't get carried away by the hype. Just, yeah, that's cool, they're having fun, yeah, that's awesome for them, but like for me, it's not for me. So you really have to separate. You have to know yourself so that you're not easily swayed by things that you see that other people are doing. Yeah.
You know, that's really interesting, Salma, what you've mentioned, because for me, actually, the biggest social pressure I faced was also with friendships.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You know, we had not discussed this. In fact, Maria told me, for me, don't tell me. Just tell me. I want to hear, like, for the first time.
And it's funny because for people who know me, I have a very private circle now, for people who know me. But actually, when we were in uni, so just a bit of background, you know, I when I was in high school, well, not even high school, all my life, I was raised in a very like strict sort of home, like that one where like you cannot go partying or sneaking out or those things. I would always have to come up with something to tell my dad. So when I went to uni is when the freedom came, and when that also came, it came with my longing to be around, how do you say, the cool kids. And that was a pressure I faced because I constantly compared myself to that. I constantly felt the need to go for every party. I constantly, if I saw someone posting a picture, and I think that time Facebook was more
Nini
than
that's
Instagram.
Why I mentioned Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook was more like the in thing. And I would see, if I saw someone, like, you know, guys would post like, oh, weekending in, I don't know, Naivasha. My guys have gone for those, you know, those functions that used to be there, Earth Dance.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, if I saw like a crew of guys have gone, that would bug me. That would bug me.
When did I go?
Yeah, and I wanted to go. And I think the saddest part about that is sometimes you learn the lesson maybe just by growing up, but then sometimes, unfortunately, life teaches you the lesson. And that was the case for me. I was constantly going through things where you realize that these are not true friends. It's just, and it's not really their fault. It's just, you guys are actually just friends to party with money you don't have. You're probably telling lies to your parents, or like, in, you're trying to live this lifestyle. But that was something it was a big issue I faced. That FOMO, especially in my first year of uni, and it caused me a lot of heartbreak because I found myself in many situations where I was saying yes to things I would never say yes to. I was doing a lot of things to please people. I was in crowds I shouldn't have, you know, been in, really. And it's just a thing for trying to keep, I was trying to fit in, and I was trying to be in this circle because I thought that was cool. And that's what I'm saying, like, unfortunately, you know, life either teaches you that maybe you're hanging around people who are not genuine, and maybe you need to, you know, find people who are genuine for you. And what I can say how I overcome, well, I had to learn the lesson, and yes, it was painful, but also when I look at myself now, I'm so content. Like, I'm so happy. I learned that lesson.
I think also growing up has a lot to do with this.
I'm so happy that because if I'm going somewhere, maybe with Salma, I don't start thinking of how cool I should look, or am I going to embarrass, you know, I don't think of those kind of things, you know. And then you also you're also able to develop authentic relationships with people.
That is so
true. And I really like what Salma said about your identity. It really starts with knowing yourself. You have to do some introspection. And I think sometimes maybe look at the triggers. If you feel like you're in situations where you're doing, and there's something, you know, there's always that thing in your mind that's telling you, I shouldn't sneak out, or I shouldn't, you know, be with this crowd, or even how this person has handled this situation is not okay. You know, you can tell when people are misusing you. There's always something in your mind.
But you always justify it to yourself. You know, but that's the thing. Humans are very, like, you'll always justify it to yourself.
You'll come up with all reasons.
Yeah, it's okay, it's just there. They'll do better.
Or they've gotten better. But you've been friends with this person for like 4 years and they've gotten better. They're not getting better. In fact, one of the quotes I always say is that when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Believe them the first time. Yes, people change, but believe them the first time. And
yeah, I think that was a very interesting conversation. Just how social media is just this animal in our lives that nobody has been able to really control it, because with social media so many things can happen. Things
explode like
in an instant. Things explode, for the good, for the bad, you never know. But it's just very important to ground yourself. There are also people who are, I think, easily influenced. There are just some people who succumb to peer pressure so much, succumb to these social pressures so much. I think also it has something to do with how resilient you are. So maybe you can also do some self-introspection and just try to build that resilience. And it's okay to say no. By the way, learn to say no more. You know, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to please everyone. If COVID has shown us anything, life is short.
That's
do
very
the
true.
things that make you
And
happy.
chances are, if you're someone who's easily influenced by other people, those people know that. And they always play that against you. And don't let it get to a point where you have to learn the lesson.
Exactly.
Where life is teaching you the lesson. You know, and that's what we are saying. Look for the signs or the red flags or, you know, something like that. Yeah,
I think we've covered like the things we really wanted to say. Like we said, this was not going to cover everything. There's still so much more. And feel free to let us know what you think. If you think there's a particular element that you'd like us to talk more about, we would really be happy
we'd
to
really
do
like
so.
to hear your comments on this particularly. You know, what social pressures do you think are there? What do you think we should start doing? Because I think talking about it is a beautiful step. You know, just coming out as young people and talking, because sometimes I hear Salma say something and I'm like, wow, I've gone through the same thing. And sometimes you feel embarrassed, or you feel like, let me just not say this thing, you know. And you find someone has gone through something, they're like, by the way, this is how I handled it, or this is how I overcame it. So we'd really love to get your comments, your feedback, and engage us. And as we said, we're going to be doing a series of this, so look out for our next series.
That's all. Thank you.
Bye.